Hey y'all, it's me Amani and welcome back to my channel. And so I don't really take a lot of notes, but I have a short-term memory issue and I actually called Adriana. So that happens to me sometimes. It's like a Jedi mind trick of the brain, but I do my best to try to say the appropriate names. But want to talk about episode 7 that happened last night. But before I do, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I guess we just have to say that. Some people, they be like begging people, hit that button, hit that button. But I'm just like, yes, please, if you like my content. I know not a lot of people click on my think pieces, but I'm just letting y'all know that I've been right about a lot of things, okay? But I'm going to talk a little bit about what happened last night and then what's about to happen tonight, what we should prepare for, and I'm going to try to keep this short. So Soline and Mert are now gone. Au revoir, Soline. Au revoir, Mert. Mert says, but before he left, he told Lucinda that he loves her. This is love. And so I don't know what's going to happen and that he's going to wait for her. So that would be nice, Mert. But so we start off with Chris and KK. Well, I don't know if we start off, but these are things that happened last night. Chris and KK are talking about kind of what it is like being a power couple. Maybe it's not such a great feeling, but I think they made the right decision. I'm sure they feel the same way. Chris says that he, after, talking with KK and being in the covers with him the night before, apparently, he says underneath the covers, like he was in the last season completely covered, he says that he doesn't want his feelings in the way in dealing with KK, that he doesn't deal with rejection well, so he's just trying to keep it as friends, I guess. I'll be honest, I don't understand Chris, but I'm trying, y'all. I'm not in the everybody hates Chris because I'm not part of that. I just don't understand him, but that's okay. I don't have to. Next we have, so then in this episode, Toby tells Tyreek about kissing Andrea. And I just have Toby and Tyreek are a mess. They're literally like, those guys, the homies that talk about, hey, I did this and did you do that? But where you at? What, you moving too slow? You gonna do? That's literally what they're like. But Toby goes on about how good the kiss was. He even goes into the confessional or whatever it's called on the camera and talks about it. And Toby is a very interesting character, as they say in the Caribbean. Anyway, but then they sit and conspire, and talk about Justine. So as I've told you, Sally dated Toby. And then he went off on her on the last Love Island Games, what they showed again on After Sun, because it was absolutely insane. The switch up was switchy. So I always remember that about him and just other things that, from watching him on Love Island Games last season. I've never watched any of the UK shows, but when they pop into the USA shows, you kind of learn a little bit about their personalities. So Johnny and very giddy Andreina have a makeout session. So what else is new? And I just want you guys, here's something else I'm going to throw at y'all. Andreina and Nicola are very similar. I'm just going to let you know. They're two different versions of the same coin because I remember that Andreina has never had a boyfriend before, ever. I don't know Nicola's story, but I get the feeling that, she's been single for a while and that, this type of show is like a huge deal to her, but their personalities are actually similar. I'm telling you. The giggling, the reaction to the potential of love. Andreina is like completely smitten with Johnny. We all know about Johnny last season. She was on, trying to remember her name. She was on After Sun. And if you can watch Love Island Games 1, if you've never seen Love Island Games before, I think it would be a good idea to watch it. and just see how Johnny works. That's why I'm convinced he's going to pick Garby, or I'm thinking, who's the strongest? Garby, Andrea. Like, I can see that. I can't see how it'll work out now, but I'm thinking Garby, which is what I've said from the beginning. Anyway, so then it's nighttime, and it's this when I guess everybody is getting ready for bed. We see KK doing Chris's hair, and I really didn't notice that, but his hair looked really good the night before, so I'm glad that she's rescuing his natural. So as the lights dim and go out, we hear Justine say to Josh, oh, but first Tyreek lays down beside Justine to talk to her, but we hear Justine say to Josh that she hasn't had a kiss. She's the only one that hasn't had a kiss yet. And then as the lights go out, we see Kendall and Garby making out, and we see Johnny and Justine making out after she told him that she hadn't had a kiss yet. So it's the next morning, and Kendall and Garby, Kendall decides that he wants to have a special date with Garby. They haven't done that yet, and he's so special that he makes her a grilled cheese sandwich, like, woo, and takes her up to Soul Ties. So romantic, just to have more deep conversations about things. And like I've said, I don't know what it is about Kendall. I don't know what things he has to work out, but he needs to work them out, because there's this way that he just looks uncomfortable when he's talking to people. Now, the reviewers and other people say that he doesn't like chocolate people. I don't know. I just know there's something kind of unresolved and unsolved with him. And that's what comes out. Like, he just seems disingenuous. Yeah, I felt that way about him in his season. I feel that way about him now. And I don't know. But what can we do? We're just going to watch the show. Anyway, so Chris talks to Nicola, and she nearly passes out, literally. Like, he talks to her. She's so excited. Sorry, like, she's just so cute. Like, she's a lot. And they actually have a conversation too. Like, and Chris asks her, like, so what would you get me for Christmas? Which is normal conversation, normal small talk that people have. That's what I ask people. I don't really know. So what would you get me for Christmas? And she says, I would get you a hat or like a cap and glasses. I loved her answer. I love the innocence about her, because that's not what he was thinking. She's like, or a necklace. And he's like, oh, that's so cool. Those are the things that I love. And suddenly I was reminded that Chris is a basketball player from overseas, because suddenly I'm seeing that facet of his personality. I've never noticed it before last night. The way he was sitting there talking to Nicola with the shades, and like, because that's how it is. Overseas ball players. It is. It's just how it is. Anyway, Andrea tells Josh about the Toby kiss. And, Josh plays it off like it's okay, but it's not, because Josh seems really intent on Andrea, and she keeps getting taken away from him. And then what else happened? So Justine and Josh have a little conversation about their makeout sesh the night before, and I've already told you about these two that I thought they'd end up together. Like, there's just something I see even before the show started, so I'm just going to keep reiterating it. So they talk about their thing. She's like, well, and then in her little confessional thing, she says that, he's like home base. He feels safe. And I get that, but I actually think they would make a good couple. And she's comfortable with the swirl. So I know that. So, and Josh, like I said, he's very intense for this show, but he's actually like a super nice guy. So let me see. So then I have Josh. So when Andrea tells Josh about kissing Toby, Josh doesn't tell her about Justine yet. After him, Justine and Josh have a chitty chat. And then Justine is talking to Tyreek, who's really trying to I think he genuinely likes her, but it's also that thing about, that woman that's hard to get. She's hard to get. She's not somebody he can figure out. He can't use his regular playing moves on her. So I do think he genuinely likes her as much as he can genuinely like somebody in Love Island games. But I like Tyreek. He's a lot. And Justine tells him that her and Josh shared a kiss, and he looks stricken. He looks shooketh. Okay, and then after that, Josh tells Andrea that actually him and Justine shared a kiss, and Andrea's kind of like, it is what it is. I had a kiss, you had a kiss, we all had a kiss, we even now, it's all good. It has been nice getting to know Andrea's personality, because after the show that she was on ended, it was just a lot, and she was a lot, so it's kind of neat to just get to know who she is. So, and KK, I love what KK's doing, because I really think she's chilling, and I think she's just letting things roll. Like, okay, Chris, you don't want to cuddle or anything because whatever, it is what it is. Tyreek, he did the little kiss thing, and he's also talking to Justine, whatever. I also think Josh likes KK, just saying. Another thing I noticed, there is a scene, because they don't always show when people are talking. So remember, because of the editing, try to look at when those scenes come up, who is sitting by who and talking, because we don't see it on the show. But what stood out to me was when the text came through, Justine was laying down and Tyreek was laying, they're facing opposite ways, but Tyreek was like caressing her leg, kind of. I was like, okay, Tyreek and Justine, I see you. So, and they get the text, they find out that it has a different name, but it's the Heart Rate Challenge. It's my least favorite thing about Love Island games. And once again, I apologize to all the church people and all the elders that I told that I love this show called Love Island Games, because they are not going to appreciate it. Last night's episode, because the Heart Rate Challenge is a lot. It's a lot for me, but it's part of the show. Okay? Anyway, basically, they all try to get each other's heart rates up by doing lots of sorted and lewd things. And while they're doing all that, and especially Nicola, she whips her hair back and forth. She whips it. Nicola, she did a lot. And then 2 more people come in, and it's Sydney and Marvin. Now, I know nothing about Marvin, but I know what other people have said about Marvin, that he's been on other shows, and I don't know, allegedly, he has quite a few kids, which is fine, but can the producers do better research on who they're bringing onto this show, please? If he does have 4 kids or 3 kids or whatever, that's fine. You can be a father, a single father, but can the producers really learn about who the people are, and if they're really there for love? Because I can see KK liking Marvin, I can see Justine liking Marvin, I can see, because Marvin is handsome, he looks good. And honestly, I knew from the clip before that it was Isaiah's ex-girlfriend, and I watched a show he was on. So when that young lady came out, I didn't know who she, I look like Isaiah, because I didn't know who she was. I was like, who is that? I had to Google her because I was like, didn't she have red hair? She looks nothing like she looked before. That seems to be a byproduct of this show. Just different plastic surgery and different things that people do after they're on this show. Maybe it's something about being on reality TV all the time, but ladies, please don't change yourselves. You're all so beautiful, but I honestly did not recognize Sydney at all. And Isaiah just looked completely turned off. And he also didn't recognize her because she's unrecognizable. So that happened. Anyways, then they let them know who who were the top three, who were the bottom three. Basically, the top couple, the boss couple, the couples gold, couples. It's like a tongue twister. The power couple that everybody likes to say ended up being Nicola and Isaiah. Now, some people might think that's not true. I believe it only because of how wild she was and the crazy things that she was doing. So I think there was a lot of laughter, especially who did she sit on? Was she her head? There was a lot going on. There was a lot going on. And I can believe that they raised people's heart rates the most because their session was wild and out of control. I do like that it had a timer, like 1 minute and 45 seconds or whatever, so that we couldn't have any more moments. I was like, okay, Justine, I see you. By the way, Justine used to be a go-go dancer before she was on season 2, so she can dance, okay? So yeah, that's kind of what happened there with that challenge. And then what happens is the power couple gets to go to the hideaway. And I will say this though too, like Zay, like he's not into Nicola, but I do think he's starting to think about maybe him being so obsessed with the physical and the outer appearance of people might not always be the way to go. And I think he's actually starting to, I'm not saying he's falling for her, but I do think he's definitely appreciates more. And I think he's starting to like her a bit. You know, liking somebody doesn't mean they're going to get married and walk down the aisle, but that's what I feel. Anyway, they are told that, and Nicholas says, I thought we were going to have a romantic evening. Nicola, I told you I love her, but I don't want her to get hurt because to me, she's kind of fragile. Like, I love the childlike quality a bit. And I've told you her and Andriana are very similar. So I really don't want her to get hurt. Like if Chris is just messing with her, I don't want him to do that because she's very sensitive. And I don't feel that, you know, that type of, what do they call it? Like emotional maturity, especially with respect to relationships and everything. I don't feel that Nicole is there. Anyway, they learn that they have to choose 2 men and 2 women from the bottom 3. So the bottom 3 were Toby and Andrea, KK and Chris, and Johnny and Andreina. And they're basically going to choose 2 men and 2 women from out of those 3 to have a duel. And then it kind of ends that way. Dun dun! Cliffhanger. So we don't know. If it was me or you, who would you pick? So I would pick for the duel. I feel I want Johnny. Johnny has to stay on the show. Toby, to me, he's replaceable. Yeah, you're replaceable. Andrea, I definitely think they want still on the show. KK definitely has to stay on the show. I look at Chris and Toby as the 2 people that are expendable. With the women, I don't know who they're going to. Well, y'all saw Andriana fighting with Lucinda. Lucinda kicked her butt, and she's a tiny little thing. So, I mean, they might match up Andrea and KK just because there'll be more of a competition. So Andriana stays safe. That's what I think. Yeah. Like, so I don't know if they're going to think about the couples, like how Johnny and Andriana are so close. But yeah, I would definitely, Chris and Toby, they would be the 2 I would have in battle. And then I wouldn't put Andriana in battle is because she can't battle. But remember, this duel might be mental. It might not be physical. That's the other thing about this show. You don't know what type of duel it's going to be. So I don't know what's going to happen. But I say, if it were me, it would be Chris and Toby. And then of the women, I think I would put, I'm thinking of the couples. So I would actually probably put, Andrea and KK up too. I would want KK to win, but I know Andrea's a tough competitor and Andreina isn't. Or if they want to be completely evil, because Andreina, they would put Andreina and Andrea up. Okay, and that's enough of my andras. Anyway, those are my thoughts. We'll see what happens tonight. I'm still really liking the show, even the twists and turns. But again, about this Marvin person, if that's true, producers, please do your research on the people you're bringing on the show. Please bring Black men or anybody that is actually really interested in Black women, or that, even though there seems to be more about the money, that they could actually have a real relationship, even if they're in another country, because Miguel and Leah did it. If they have that type of base, like for a relationship. And Sydney, oh, I did have one more thing to say. So Sydney and Isaiah remind me of Marco in season 5, when they brought his ex-girlfriend who had the same name as somebody else on the show, and Marco was like, yeah, okay, whatever, and they sent them on a date, and he was just like totally unimpressed, and it wasn't a big deal, and he told Hannah about her, and basically what they tried to do, there was no drama. And that's how I feel with Sydney and Isaiah. But we'll see. We're gonna see soon. It comes on so late here. Anyways, have a great evening. I hope you're enjoying Love Island Games. I hope you don't forget to like and subscribe. Please peruse my channel. Look at all the different things I have on there, of the people that I keep in touch with, of my tribute videos. I call them my vlog vignettes, and yeah, just enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's up. Like and subscribe.